Okay, I just want to show you some real quick Excel basics. What you're going to do today is I'm going to just show you how to write code, and basically you're going to boss the computer around. So you're just going to kind of give him like a set of instructions, and you're going to tell the computer what you want him to do. Now in Excel, you've got two different types of things you can do. Anytime that you're in Excel, you can move around as to where you want to type, but I could say right here where my cursor is, I could type a number, right? If you just type a number or type whatever, it's going to think that you want that exact thing to show up. So if I said like 8 plus 2, it shows up as 8 plus 2. Now, if you want to boss the computer around and tell it to do work, here's where things get weird. If you start off with an equal sign, that's how you kind of communicate to the computer, hey, I want you to do some work, and then you can follow up with whatever work you want it to do, and that equal sign makes all the difference. Once that equal sign is there, the computer understands that you want him to do what's coming next. What I want him to do is I want him to do the work, 8 plus 2, that becomes 10. So if you're too lazy to do your own math, you could use an equal sign and say, hey computer, I want you to do this math, and it will work it out. Now, that's great, but it's a little more, you can use Excel as a little more than a fancy calculator. What you can do is, like we spoke about earlier in class, you can, instead of talking about a number, you can talk about a number by its name. That sounds really weird. So I'm going to put right here, I'm just going to put some numbers here, right? And I just type those in. Now, all of these numbers, I could talk about them, I could call that 8, but I could also call it by its name. Now, its name in Excel is given by these two things together, a letter and a number. So that 8 is in a spot that you would call B3, right? B3. It's always the letter and then the number. So what I could do right here, if I wanted to do, I don't know, some fancy math, again, you lead off with an equal sign that says I'm about to boss the computer. I want to tell the computer to do some work. And I could say, I want him to say take whatever's in B3. So here we go. I'm not going to call that dude 8. I'm going to call it by its name. So whatever is in B3, take that and I don't know, multiply it by, let's get fancy, 0.5. By the way, multiply is not an X. It's the asterisk, which is the symbol that's on top of the 8. So if you hit Shift 8, you get the asterisk. So what I'm going to say is, take whatever's in B3, whatever that is, multiply it by half. When I hit enter, there you go. It did that for me. Now, why is this cool? Because you're bossing the computer. You're telling him take whatever's in B3. Well, if I change my mind about what's in B3 and hit enter, then the computer magically changes his mind for me. How crazy is that? So it says whatever's in B3. So I could put whatever I want to put in B3, and this cell right here is always going to say, look at that, multiply it by half. So you could add, you can multiply, you can divide, you can do whatever you want. Now, this thing right here, I don't particularly know why I'm multiplying things by half, but let's say maybe I want right here to do the same type of thing. But that 23 right there is, I'm going to call him by his name. His name is, if you'll take a look at the letter and the number, that 23 is in spot B4. So I could say equals B4 times 0.5. Boom. And again, I could change my mind about what's in there. It'll update for me. Now here's the crazy thing. There's no reason for you to have to type this formula over and over and over again. Once you find a formula that you like, let's say you really like whatever formula you've got here, if you take your cursor, now see how it's a big fat plus most of the time. If you get it over that bottom corner, see how there's like a little square down there in that bottom corner? If you will get your mouse over that bottom corner, it'll change to a skinny plus. Click your mouse, hold down on your mouse, and drag, and it would drag down for you. And look what happened. The computer's smart enough to kind of like adjust for you. Here that you said you wanted B4 times a half, when you drag it down, it said, oh, you probably wanted B5 times a half. You drag it down again and it goes, oh, you probably wanted b6 times 1/2. So you could, once your formula is cool, instead of like typing it over and over again, you can just drag it, and it will figure out as you drag down, it will kind of change the formula for you. It's smart enough to kind of do that for you. But basically, lead off with that equal sign. You can call a cell by its name instead of calling it by its value, and then you can add, subtract, multiply, divide, whatever kind of math you want, and that is the difference between a value and an equation.